So I predicted about, I don't know, 9 months ago or so. Actually, maybe it was a little bit more. It was around the time that Mark Zuckerberg was seen with lots of sunscreen on his face while he was like wakeboarding or something. At that time, right after that, he started posting a lot on his Facebook, just weird stuff, right? It was just some weird stuff that he was like, sharing about a weird status update, something that, Mark Zuckerberg normally would not do. And he just did this for like a short period of time, and then it kind of trickled off. And I think he does it once in a while now too. And he was kind of showing his personality more than usual, let's just say, right? And at that time too, I remember Elon Musk was kind of the cool billionaire, while, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, all these other billionaires that are known, don't have a great rep, right? For whatever reason. I don't even agree with why they don't have a great rep, but just, the media doesn't seem to like them. And I think there's different reasons for each of them, right? So I noticed that I thought that Mark Zuckerberg was trying to reinvent his personal brand, because when he was young, before the movie came out, before The Social Network came out, he was kind of known as cool. People looked up to him. After that movie came out, I think that actually tarnished his reputation and made him look kind of like an asshole, right? I think I'm just kind of ballparking my memory of kind of his personal brand. And then ever since then, with all the privacy issues and all the, when he was going to the Senate and just the way he even looked there, like he looked very robotic. People made fun of his hairline, his hairstyle. He was just, very just, straight face, whatever.
There were some good memes that came out of that.
Yeah, his personality didn't really shine when he was there, in a sense, right? But I mean, you're getting grilled by Senate. Like, what can you do, right? So, nonetheless, I've always been a fan of Mark Zuckerberg. I always defend him. When the media started reporting that the Horizons metaverse was going to charge a 47% commission on goods, I looked into it and I found out that was complete story. And we actually covered it in our show. And I pointed it out because it just seems like the media does not like Facebook. And I could give you all my predictions or my theories as to why they don't like Facebook and they don't like Mark Zuckerberg, but they don't, right? So when I saw him kind of posting and trying to act cool on Facebook, of all places, and maybe on Instagram too, I predicted that he was going to go on Joe Rogan, or host Saturday Night Live. And now he's been on Joe Rogan. So as soon as I saw that come up, I was like, right away, went to Spotify. I was like, okay, I'm watching the whole episode. I watched the whole thing, and I got a lot of interesting takeaways on there. Takeaways. I wouldn't say I learned a lot from the knowledge of Mark Zuckerberg, but I did notice that Joe Rogan, they obviously spent a lot of time together before they started recording. Did you watch it?
I have not had a chance yet.
Okay. So yeah, it seemed like they spent a lot of time together. They mentioned they talked on the phone. They mentioned that they were playing with the new Oculus 2 or whatever, and I guess it's not out yet. And so Joe Rogan was talking about his experience with it. So it was clear that they had spent several hours together before actually sitting down to record.
Okay.
And yeah, one thing that I noticed was that Joe Rogan, he kept trying to, he's like, it must be a huge burden, a lot of responsibility to be in charge of such a massive platform and to be in charge of, or to make rules or decisions that impact so many people. And he said this like several times throughout the interview. And every time Mark like never agreed. He was always kind of dodging it. And it was kind of clear, like he did not see the ramifications of how, what an important role that he had or the impact that he was making.
No one can manage 5 billion people or 3 billion people or a billion. It's like the numbers are just, they're so absurd. It's so preposterous. It doesn't make any sense. So like, I would imagine that for your mind, the amount of pressure that's involved in just maintaining, it's like, it has to be like looming over you at all times in the background. Like it's probably very difficult for you to find things that filter that out.
Yeah, I mean,
they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
There's always stuff to work on, right?
Yeah.
So I think a big part of trying to push forward is maintaining enough control of my time to push on the things that like I believe need to be advanced for the future rather than being reactive.
What is it like having that kind of responsibility? Because it seems to me that would be an immense burden. As you said, you're controlling the signal of 3+ billion people. That is so astounding to even say.
Well, I think the important thing is that I don't exactly look at it the way that you said. I view our job as empowering people to be able to express what they want and get the content that they want.
I'm sure there has to be some pretty intense conversations about how this is managed and handled, and the burden of that must be tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different parts of what you just said. And I think in terms of kind of helping people discover the things that they want, I think that's a pretty different wing of what we do.
What's that been like for you to assume this position and to have this position evolve and spread, and for you yourself to become this insanely successful person who is involved in this social media platform that is so massive? You have all this going on. I mean, am I freaking you out just thinking about it?
No. I've spent a long, it's like breathe deeply. No, so I spent a lot of time thinking about this.
I can imagine.
Just like, it's like, why us? Like, what happened that we were the ones who built this? Like,
I always fascinated to like, what is that like for the person who made it? And it's got to be so bizarre to see it just continue to spread. I mean, it's not getting smaller; it just keeps getting bigger, which is nuts. Like, you have 3 billion people, it's getting bigger. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, how long do you see yourself doing this? How long do you see yourself running it?
I'm not sure if that'll be the reason. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna do this for a while, just because.
And it kind of reminded me of, in the movie, The Social Network, they kind of revealed that his business card, his first business card, said, "I'm CEO," right? And how he had like talked bad about his users. He's like, I can't remember exactly what was said, but he was like kind of down talking, the people who would actually use his platform.
Yeah.
And I got this feeling because I, remembered that. I don't think anyone would just make that connection, right? But my connection was like, I think he still feels that way. I think he has resentment towards the users of Facebook because a lot of them have turned on him. He probably has resentment towards the media companies. Before Facebook was, the news feed was all about news, right? They were going all in on news. You know about that, right? Even when you go, like when I was logged into Creator Studio or whatever, like, I have a news site, so they were asking me to connect my website so that way it would serve up. It's called Facebook Instant Articles. So then when someone clicks on one of our links, it opens up in Instant Articles, which is a Facebook browser that will just load instantly. So instead of taking 10 seconds to load, which the average link takes 10 seconds to load, it just loads within like a second. And then they place the Facebook Audience Network ads in your content. So they were going all in with news and media. And then just, last month or maybe a month and a half ago, they've now switched their positioning and now they're all in on creators.